Lack of sleep or sleep deprivation can cause many mental and physical effects. They can both be immediate and long term. Everyone is at risk for being sleep deprived at least one point in their life, but college students are especially at risk. According to a study done by Harvard University, 11% of their students say that they have consistent nights of sleep, but 73% of their students say that they have occasional sleep issues. So how do you, a thriving college student here at UMHB, know if you're sleep deprived? We asked 6 students 3 questions to find out exactly that.
Is there a good chance that you'll doze off if you sit down and read a book?
Yes.
How likely will it be for you to snooze if you were in the passenger seat of a car for more than an
Not sure. Like, what do you mean?
hour? Like if you're in the car and you're like driving like to Houston or something, it's like 3 hours. Would you fall asleep?
Oh no.
No? Okay. If you were to lie down and close your eyes in the middle of an afternoon, would you easily fall asleep?
Yes.
Well, you answered yes to 2 out of the 3 questions. So congratulations, you're sleep deprived.
Is there a good chance that you would doze off if you sat down and read a book right now?
Depends on if it's an interesting book, but if not, then yes, probably.
Okay. How likely would it be for you to snooze if you were in the passenger seat of a car for more than an hour?
Very likely. Yeah.
If you were to lie down and close your eyes in the middle of the afternoon, would you easily fall asleep?
Yes.
Well, you answered yes to 2 or more of these questions, so congratulations, you are sleep deprived.
Nice.
Is there a good chance that you'll doze off if you sit down and read a book right now?
No.
How likely would it be for you to snooze if you were in the passenger seat of a car for more than an hour?
Oh, easy.
Easy. If you were to lie down and close your eyes in the middle of the afternoon, would you fall asleep easily?
Yeah.
Okay, well congratulations. You answered yes to 2 of the 3 questions, so congratulations, you're sleep deprived.
So, is there a good chance that you'll doze off if you sit down and read a book right now?
No.
How likely would it be for you to snooze if you were in the passenger seat of a car for more than an hour?
Unlikely.
If you were to lie down and close your eyes in the middle of the afternoon, would you easily fall asleep?
Nope.
Nice. So you are not sleep deprived. You're probably one of the few people that we've found on this campus. Congratulations.
Is there a good chance that you'll doze off if you sit down and read a book right now?
Not in this book.
How likely would it be for you to snooze if you were in the passenger seat of a car for more than an hour?
100%.
100%, yeah. If you were to lie down and close your eyes in the middle of the afternoon, how easily would you fall asleep?
Immediately.
Yeah. Okay, well, you answered yes to 2 or more questions. Congratulations, you're sleep deprived.
So, is there a good chance that you'll doze off if you sit down and read a book right now?
Yes.
Probably with weather outside.
How likely would it be for you to snooze if you were in the passenger seat of a car for more than an hour?
Every time.
For sure, I'd fall asleep. No doubt.
If you were to lie down and close your eyes in the middle of the afternoon, would you easily fall asleep?
Yes.
Maybe, if I've had coffee.
Alright, well y'all both answered yes to 2 or more of these questions, so congratulations, you are sleep deprived.
Yes, great.
Microsleeps are extremely brief moments where your brain has entered into an unconscious state. They're your body's way of forcing you to rest and are nearly impossible to resist. These mini naps result from changes in hormones like adenosine and hypocretin, which cause your brain to essentially close up shop.
To give you a sense of what microsleep feels like, focus on this image. In a moment, we're going to flash a quick frame of black, and then the picture will change slightly. See if you can spot the change. Ready? Here's the first picture again, and the changed image. Did you catch it this time? Did you notice the additional boat?
This game mimics the tiny gaps in awareness you experience from a 50-millisecond microsleep. And it clearly demonstrates why microsleep is so dangerous. This was a game, but imagine if you were behind the wheel and that boat you didn't notice was an oncoming car.
In fact, the #1 cause of high-severity crashes on the road is fatigue. A scary thought, since most Americans aren't getting nearly enough rest.
Research shows you should be getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, but 40% of Americans get less than this, and it could be having a detrimental effect on your life. To find out if you're getting the right amount of sleep, you could visit your local sleep lab and get tested. Or you could take this quick quiz.
Is there a good chance you'll doze off if you sit down and read a book? How likely would it be for you to snooze if you were traveling in the passenger seat of a car for more than an hour? If you were to lie down and close your eyes in the middle of the afternoon, would you easily fall asleep?
If you answered yes to at least 2 of these, there's a good chance you're sleep deprived and need to start catching up on more nighttime disease.
There was a recent study done by sleep expert Matthew Walker. He's a professor of neuroscience and psychology at the University of California, Berkeley, and he did a study on why we sleep. He discovered that suffering from a lack of sleep can actually prevent you from making new memories. The part of your brain that records experiences so that you can remember them is effectively shut down by the body when you don't have enough sleep. This creates amnesia-like effects. Every night and every day, your brain creates a toxic protein called beta amyloid. This is actually associated with Alzheimer's disease, and the buildup of this can actually put you at a greater risk of dementia.
Sleep deprivation also causes effects to your physical body. It affects the reproductive system. Studies have shown that men who sleep less than 5 to 6 hours a night have a level of testosterone that is the same as someone 10 years older than them. So basically, lack of sleep will age you by almost a decade in terms of virility and wellness. It also impacts your immune system. After only one night of 4 to 5 hours of sleep, there is a 70% reduction in anti-cancer fighting cells called natural killer cells. So short sleep times predict that you are at a greater risk of developing numerous cancer cells. In fact, the link between lack of sleep and cancer is so strong that the World Health Organization classified any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen. So basically, late night and long working jobs may induce cancer because it disrupts your sleep rate rhythms.
A lack of sleep can also lead to having a poor cardiovascular system. Your body naturally produces a blood pressure medication that is created every night while you sleep, so not getting enough sleep can actually lead to an increased heart rate and increased blood pressure. Getting less than 6 hours of sleep leads to a 200% increased risk of fatal heart attack or stroke in your lifetime. There's also a global experiment that's performed 2 times a year on 1.6 billion people. You might have heard of it. It's called daylight savings time. Every day after daylight savings in spring, there's a 24% increase in heart attacks every year.
So how long can you actually stay awake before you start seeing a decrease in brain function and impairments within your body? Studies show that it's about 16 hours of wakefulness. Once you're awake past 16 hours, you start to see mental and physical deterioration. After you're awake for 19 to 20 hours, your mental capacity is so impaired that you are as deficient as someone who is legally drunk.
So now that you know all of the negative effects that sleep deprivation can have on an adult's life, think about how badly it can affect your students who need even more sleep than adults do. So here are some things to think about when you're in the classroom. Students who are well rested generally have a better memory, longer attention span, higher self-esteem, less aggression, hyperactivity, and depression. So these are plenty of good reasons to make sure that your students are getting enough sleep every night. Sleep deprivation can be especially detrimental to low SES children, as they're less likely to have consistent bedtime routines. Here are things to look for: signs of sleepiness, poor performance, ADHD, learning disabilities, and depression that might be linked to sleep deprivation. It's important to make sure that your parents are informed on the importance of sleep. Try to avoid assigning long homework assignments that might make your students stay up too late. Also, avoid ending after-school activities too late to make sure that your students can go home and be in bed at a reasonable time. Also, try to avoid an early secondary school start time because your students, as they get older, are even less likely to go to bed at a reasonable time.
So sleep needs are not under voluntary control, but the amount of sleep and your sleep schedule are. So here are some ways that you yourself and ways that you can tell your students on how to improve their sleep quality. Make sure you have the same bedtime and wake time 7 days a week, every single day. Have a calming bedtime routine with dim lights that you also do every single day before you go to bed, so you set up a schedule. Try to wake up without an alarm whenever possible, and eliminate sleep-disturbing conditions such as noise, light, stress, anxiety, watching TV, and or consuming alcohol. And the last one, which is the most out of all of them, is try to keep naps to a minimum of 30 minutes.